Welcome to Reality with Kiki. I'm your host, Kiki, and on this channel, we discuss reality TV, celebrity gossip, and viral topics. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like our content. You can also follow us on our Facebook page. A link will be in the description box below, and we also have it linked in our bio. All right, so Marriage Bootcamp Hip Hop Edition. We start this episode off normally like they do. The couples are waking up, blah blah blah. So they're sitting at the table. Looks like it's around breakfast time, and Molly decides to ask Moni, "Oh, how are you and Tough doing? What's going on with you guys? I feel like we don't talk about that a lot." So she told him, ask specific questions. I feel like you're just trying to get some tea because she read the out of you the previous night. Now all of a sudden you concerned with what they got going on? Boy, bye. So he can't come up with the words to say because Molly, I don't think is very smart or articulate. So he's leaning on Brock like, oh, Brock, help me out. So he asks her a question, something about like, are you all in or are you still riding the fence? Blah blah blah. So she engages Tough in the conversation. Oh, do you have anything to say? So they start talking about the cheating. And Nori is just like, he was young, 25. You kind of got to give him a pass. And Moni is like, why is that? So then Tough starts to get into how he grew up. So he's like, my father had multiple families. My grandfather had multiple families. So, I just thought that it was going to be all right. So for them, they took care of home. So everything was okay. Whatever they did was what they did. And he was like, whether you was going to be with it or not, talking to Moni. So Shimoni was like, did you really think that was going to happen with me? And he was like, listen, my mother didn't like it, but she still put up with it. And Moni was like, for the way that you grew up, cheating was not a deal breaker, but cheating is a deal breaker for me. And what I am trying to understand is how you've been staying with him this long, you've been crying and moping about him cheating all this long while. 13 years or so. I forgot what they said. You've been with him for a while. He been did it. He been doing it. Now it's a deal breaker? Girl, bye. And also, like, I want to know what she really truly wants because she's like, she wants him to take accountability. She feels like he's never taken accountability for the cheating and the way that he made her feel. But once he does that, right? That was on me. I cheated on you. I should have never done that to you. I should have never put you in that type of position. Does that help to heal the process? Because for her, I think, especially with her being pregnant, that being one of the times that he was cheating on her, I think that was a very emotional time for her. So that's something that she will never forget. Will you be able to move past it? Is my question. Because you want him to do all these things, but it's just like, okay, now what? But apparently that is going to start the healing process for her because she was excited to finally receive that apology. And at the same time, right? So, like, for Tough to internalize the things that he did while he was growing up. I find it interesting that he's like, I thought it was okay because this is what my daddy did, this is what my grandfather did. But you saw that your mother never left, but I'm sure you also saw that your mother was hurt by the things that your father did and was doing. So how would that translate for you as an adult that like I'm going to do the same thing to my woman and everything is going to be okay, right? Like whether she's staying or not, I don't feel like you ever considered her feelings. So they're all sitting at the table, and Brock is like, to Treasure, what's wrong? She's just like, I'm just really feeling uncomfortable right now. She's like, I don't even know why I'm here. And so quickly, Molly tries to change the conversation, like, oh, that don't even make sense to me right now, but so I don't even know what to say to that. And she gets up and walks away, and he's like, oh, like let's talk about a different couple. And he starts to go into how everybody is always basically defending Treasure like she's the victim. If they're his friends, they need to stand up for what's right. And I think that Molly believes whatever he's saying is right. He was talking a whole bunch of gibberish. Like when he speaks, it's just dumb, in my opinion. So they're kind of going back and forth with him because he's like, "Well, no, if I'm wrong, then you can tell me I'm wrong." Okay, so why are you getting upset that nobody's on your side? Then you're wrong, and you're constantly wrong. So Treasure comes back, and she drops a bombshell. She's like, um, I'm just trying to figure out why my partner brought me here. And Molly is like, I didn't bring you here. You chose to come with me. So Treasure is like, so Molly, we both came up with a story so that we could say that we were together and we could come on the show to help further our careers. I knew it. I knew it from the beginning. I was like, I've never heard about Molly and Treasure being a couple. That's an odd couple. When did they meet? How did that work out? Especially with them claiming they had a long distance relationship and she's claiming that he was controlling her from long distance. I'm just like, this story doesn't make sense. It sounds suspicious. And it turns out that it was all fake. And it's just like, that's pretty raggedy because there are people that come up here who are truly looking to do the work. There are couples who truly want to try to fix things, and y'all gonna come up here with this fake storyline? Really? So Dr. Ish in his confessional was like, I knew something that was off with this couple because Treasure kept spilling the tea. She was like, I wanted to further my career and you wanted to come up here so that you wouldn't have to go to jail. Oh my God. And somebody called, I think I was watching Color Me Pink. She called it. She was like, he has this case going on and he wants to come up here to try to make himself look good. That's why he was always telling Treasure to make him look good, make me look good, speak positively about me because he was trying to make himself look good to the courts, to the judge, so that he won't be put in jail for that sex trafficking. This is crazy. And I think that Treasure was with it, right? I don't think this would have came out if he wasn't as nasty as he was towards her. Um some of his words, emotionally abusive, verbally, like if he wasn't the person that he was, it probably would have worked out. You probably would have got away with it. But you couldn't hold up the axe because I don't think that Molly respects women. He was almost just like repulsed by Treasure. She wasn't even doing nothing to him. And he just would come out his mouth and just say these nasty things to her, or like about her body. Like, I'm sure that that didn't make her feel good. So Treasure just keep letting it out. She don't care. She is like, all bets are off. I'm gonna spill this tea. So Nori was like to Treasure, you say you don't know him that well, so why does he get you that angry? And I'm just like, first of all, I don't even know why you thought that that question would be the right question in the time, because it sounds like you're trying to defend Molly, because Molly always feels like everybody's against him. Nobody's on his side. It's not your job to be on his side or to defend him. That's a grown man. And so as she's like, he's tapped into some of my insecurities. Like I said, he will say things to her. Oh, yeah, big old butt, and just like would talk about her like in a disgusting way. Like he's just so disgusted with her. He interrupts her and is like, "Well, how did I do that? Well, how did I tap into your insecurities? Why don't you tell us?" And it's just like he's trying to make himself look good. He's trying to paint her like she's crazy. She's just saying anything. And she's just like, I'm not gonna keep explaining it to you. I already told you. And I'm sure she's done that, but he don't care. He not listening to her and whatever she's saying. And she was basically like, you know, we had sex one time, and in order for us to have sex, you gave me a Molly and said you would only have sex with me if I was on the Molly. You popped the Molly, and you took some Viagra. He like, what are you talking about? I don't know what she's talking about. And it's just like you're trying to pretend to be calm so that you could try to hide behind it and make it seem like she's crazy. But I believe Treasure. What reason would she have to lie about that? Why would she make something like that up? She's like, I'm not from LA. I don't know where to go get no drugs in LA. Where would I get the drugs from? So
Child.
Dr. Ish pulls Treasure aside because, like, obviously these allegations that she's making, she could be in a dangerous situation. So he's just talking through the situation with her, and she's explaining everything. And the rest of the group is, out lounging around. Molly's upstairs in the room, and they're having a conversation. And Brock is just like, there's two sides to every story, but Treasure don't lie. And he was just like, basically, that he believes her. And he notices that with Molly, he never takes accountability and he always is deflecting. Everything is Treasure. And Amber decides to jump in. Oh, how was he? How was he always deflecting? Why do you feel like you need to jump up and try to save this man? Like, you really are stuck on him saying he wanted to do a track with you. First of all, if you really think that he want to do a track with you, I don't know what to tell you. It was just a dig to get back at Brock. That's all that was. If he really had an interest in working with you as an artist, I'm sure that he would have contacted you long before now. And so, like, everybody else is pretty much agreeing. Like, Brock is like, I could be wrong, but this is what I see. And I think that his analysis is accurate. Like, he never takes accountability. Like, Molly's disgusting to me. So they make sure that Treasure and Molly stay separated. They are allowing Treasure this space to pack her things so that she is able to leave. And Judge Toller comes and speaks with her because she's like, these allegations are serious. Do you want to press charges? Do you want us to call the police? And she's just like, I want to take some time to think about it. And during that time, Dr. Ish goes and talks to Molly because he's like, we had to get both sides of the story, but I think they pretty much are like, taking everything that Treasure said seriously. And Dr. Ish is like, what's going on? I know you guys haven't been dating for a year. He's like, no, no, we have. So he's like, okay, but in your interview, the pre interview, you said you guys have been going steady for a year. And then they showed the clip back. And then Treasure says that they've been on and off for 4 years. And he's like, oh, okay, well, that part wasn't true, but the part about me really getting feelings for her, that part was true. Everything else she's saying, she's lying. You could search all my stuff right now. I don't have any drugs. I can't even take drugs. Anything she did it on her own. And then he's gonna say, basically, like, in the case that we did do drugs, she took it on her own. First of all, you contradicting yourself so much within your statements. But cause like also like why would that ever be a situation if you don't do drugs, you can't take drugs, or whatever have you? It just wasn't making sense. A lot of what he said sound like BS, much like everything else that comes out of his mouth. A whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. He's sitting there, and you could tell that he is heightened, and it's not just because of the allegations. You're sitting here lying. The top of his head is like turning red because he's keep trying to like put out lies to try to change the narrative so that people don't see how much of a horrible person he is. He's just like, we agreed to come up here and we were going to make each other look good. Okay, so which one is it? Because it sounds like through all the lies that you're telling, little bits of truth are coming out, and those little bits of truth match up exactly to what the Treasure has been saying. So I'll reiterate it. I believe Treasure and everything that she said. Dr. Ish is ending the conversation with Molly, and he's just like, if you guys can help me, if you can help me, I would like to stay here because I've been nice to everyone, I've been honest with everyone. And it's just like, no, you haven't. You just been caught in a lie, and then you still are continuing to lie. And Dr. Ish is like, he still is not taking accountability. And it's just like, you need to get sent home. And I don't think with allegations like that you should be allowed to stay here. And what are you going to be here for to do? You're not in a relationship. You're not in a couple. Like, it's pathetic. His behavior is pathetic. So Treasure says bye to everyone. Neri hugs Treasure on her way out. I think a few of the people are pretty sad that Treasure is leaving. I didn't see it for her in the beginning, but a lot of the people in the house grew to love her. Um, and after she leaves, Amber is just like, I do not blame her. I'm like, shut up, Amber, because you flip flop too much for me. So they finally get to their activity because with the whole blow up with Molly and Treasure that day, they just canceled everything. So this activity, they have puppets and they have to spin a wheel, and based on that topic, they have to act out with the puppets their sex life based on that topic. So in the confessional, Tough is like, I don't really do that sex talk. Oh, but you was sex talking with them hoes though. It was fine then. Boy, please. So Amber and Brock are up first with the puppets, and their scenario is like hand touch or something like that. And basically, it was Brock trying to touch Amber's hand, and she's like, "Ew, get off me, leave me alone." And it basically was came down to like Brock says he feels like he's always trying to initiate sex, but Amber does not want to have sex with him. And she's like, yeah, it's true. And so Dr. Ish is like, okay, so does he know why? And she's like, well, because of the whole coming out thing, and I don't know if he likes me. I don't know if he likes somebody else. Like, if he's going to be with me, then he needs to make a decision, and I need to be the only one. So my issue is, you're talking about how he came out and how he had a whole relationship with a man, and that was many years ago. You guys were on Love and Hip Hop some years ago. So why did you let him spin the block? If that's something that you could not get over, why did you let him spin the block? I'm confused. And that's why I said I called their relationship too from the beginning. I'm like, I feel like this is faking y'all up here for a check. But y'all too much of an alliance to let that out. So We'll see. So basically, Amber doesn't want to end up looking like the dummy if Miles, aka Brock, decides to go back to men. And Dr. Ish is like, oh, I wonder how much of that is influenced by other people's opinions. And Brock is like, a lot. And I'm trying to figure out at what point, because at the end of the day, you still decided to come back on national TV and let the world know that you guys are back together. So Moni and Tough go next, and their scenario is Freak Like Me. And basically, Moni says she not turning out no tricks for Tough because he been out here cheating and she not giving him no head, and that's something that he wants. And Dr. Ish is like, well, why isn't that something that you're willing to do? And she's just like, I feel like my mouth isn't the only one that's there. Okay. But your vagina ain't the only one that's sitting on it either. So I'm trying to understand. And I'm not trying to be a tough defender, but girl, some of the stuff you be, some of the conclusions that you come to don't make sense to me. So Tough is just like, I thought that we moved past that and I thought that we had a breakthrough. And she's just looking at him like, what? And Dr. Ish is just pretty much like, if you're not able to move past this, you're going to have to let him go. And I'm like, exactly. Why keep yourself in misery? This is not somebody that you feel like you can trust again. This is not somebody who you want to really have sex with anymore. Like, why are you keeping him around at this point? Why not move on and find somebody else who you feel like will give you all of the qualities that you're looking for? So Nori and Neri go last, and their scenario is kiss me on my neck or something. And basically, with the puppets, Neri is kissing Nori on the neck, and she says she just hops right on it, and they go from there. So Dr. Ish is just like, okay, so you're just laying there talking about Nori. And I'm like, yeah, he just laying there. Did you see how he couldn't pick her up when they was doing that dance competition? Child, please. Nori lays there, Neri does everything, and that's just that on that. So Dr. Ish is like, okay, so what can he do better? And she was like, be more freaky. And here we go again, like that's very surface level, right? And I'm not just saying like you need to get down to the gory details, but what does that mean? There's different levels to freakiness. So, okay. But then she goes on to say, like, oh, well, I've never had a problem with you in the bedroom. So then what's the complaint about? She's just like, I just would like you to do more in other places. We're not talking about other places. We're talking about in the bedroom right now. We're talking about you guys' sex lives, not about you getting help. So after they finish the activity, Judge Toller comes in and is giving them the analysis and, just giving them credit for how far they've come. And they break. So while they are breaking, Dr. Ish is going back upstairs to talk to Molly because he said that he was going to make a decision after the activity on whether he will allow him to stay or not. And he goes upstairs and they sit down and he's just like, how you doing? He's like, I'm okay. And Dr. Ish is like, based on the history of this show, you do not meet the criteria because you were in an illegitimate relationship. And he was like, well, so he immediately is just like jumping in. No, but we really were vibing. No, you weren't. Y'all didn't even know each other. And Dr. Ish is just like, I'm not buying it. And Molly goes on to say, yeah, I was really learning things here, and I the reason I came is because I noticed some things about myself, and it's just like, just save it, okay? And I almost thought he was gonna give him a chance, but he told him, you gotta go. And I said, exactly, because you don't belong here. And that's how the episode ended. We'll see what happens next week. But you guys let me know down in the comments what you thought about all the bombshells that Treasure was dropping. And I will speak to you next time.